unite for the sensual pleasure of sex, but by actual experience we have observed that none of them are happy. Therefore, seeing the contrary results, I have stopped taking part in materialistic activities. Amagina Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yana Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Mano Bhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Svayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Svapadantikam Vanchakalpatarubhishya Kripasindhupe Vacha Patitanam Pavanabhyo Vaishnavabhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Mukham Karati Vachalam Pangoma Girim Yatkripatamaham Vandeshi Gurum Dinataranam Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Kalashimata Redmatas Hare Krishna. Sorry? Yaksha. Yak Sprout. Oh. Yeah, sorry. I think this is wonderful. Second, I visited temple yesterday and today as well. It's perfection of life. Everything else is so, this material life is so miserable. So this opportunity when you finally bring your body to the temple, at least bring your body. That's all you can. Just somehow or other. Don't listen to your mind. And just bring your body to the temple. I think once Mataji Devakisha told the secret of spiritual life is to live walking distance to the temple. The main secret of spiritual life. Sometimes we may think, okay, yes, I may live far away, but I will visit temple regular. But every time, public transport, especially in the UK, or car may be broken, or I don't know, anything may happen. But really, when you live close to the temple, this is real shelter. I think the only shelter, at least in my condition. Yeah, so I'm really grateful for this opportunity to visit temple, to sit in front of Srila Prabhupada and Shri Kodin Shasha and the devotees to describe Bhagavatam. Nashta Prayesha Padrashu Nitya Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttamashlake Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. That this by serving Bhagavatam and Srila Prabhupada in purport he mentioned every day. Regular means every day. Attend Bhagavatam classes. So you're lucky to visit them. Dear Rainis Prabhu, please use this opportunity as much as you can. Whatever your mind can tell you in this regard. This is the safest place in the universe, just to discuss Bhagavatam every morning. Bhagavatam is Krishna himself. Krishna Swadhama Pagate Dharma Jnana Dibhiksaha Kalau Nashti Darshamasha Puranarka Dhnoditaha. Krishna Swadhama Pagate. When Krishna left this universe, the sun of Bhagavatam rise. Dharma Jnana Dibhiksa. So Krishna left Dharma and Jnana, all this Dharma and Jnana left with Krishna. What to do in the age of Kali? In this age of Kali. So Puranarko, like Arko, like sun, Punar, like the sun shining in this Bhagavata Purana. So in this age of Kali, we have only Krishna's holy names and Srimad Bhagavat. And now we are reading from this wonderful chapter, this pastime, Prahlada Maharaj's pastime and pastimes. After this Nrsimhadev pastimes, Prahlada Maharaj, he started to rule the universe, rule the world. He was the king of deities. And once by traveling, or I don't know, this, it looks like a duty for Kshatriya to, how to say, to travel, not just to travel, but when Kshatriya travels, he should look what's going on with his, like land, country. If there are any bad people on the roads, yes. So he performed his duties as a Kshatriya, and traveling through the forest, he was wondered when he saw this strange sadhu, because sadhu means you have to be. There are different stages of sannyasi, for example, this, or vanaprastha. We read it in Bhagavatam as well. On some level, you may eat only grains which were left on the field after people already, took the harvest from the field. Some grains are left in the ground. So, for example, one kind of renunciation is when you eat only this kind of grains. You just collect it, whatever left, and eat it. So, but this is the highest stage, I believe, one of the highest stages, when you just lay on the ground and accept whatever comes. Just, and he was fat. He was fat brown. This sadhu, he was quite fat. And Prahlada Maharaja, he was wondering, how is it possible? I mean, even Kamabil, they struggle and they working so hard just to get some food, and they, not always even they have enough to fulfill their, desires to eat. But you, my dear sage, you just lay on the ground in the forest where there's no people, and you're quite fat, How is it possible? And it's wonderful dialogue, This Vedic culture is really beautiful, really wonderful. When they first, he glorifies this sadhu Prahlada Maharaj, and then sadhu replied to Prahlada Maharaj, like glorifying his as a pure devotee, as you already know all these path, because you're asking just to please you and to understand that you're doing it from your compassion and from your humility. So that's why I will reply to you. And he starts to instruct Prahlada Maharaj. Not instruct, but actually, for now at least, it's all about he's speaking about himself, this sadhu, this I forget this word in Sanskrit, but it's like this kind of renunciation where when you, as a python, you just lay on the ground and accept whatever comes. Oh yes, so, and he explained how he came for this life, for this type of life, for this type of renunciation, and this word spoken with realization. This wonderful verse yesterday as well. In course of evolutionary process, which is caused by fruitive activities due to undesirable material sense gratification, I have received this human form of life, which can lead to the heavenly planets, to liberation, to the lower species of rebirth among human beings. This wonderful example of, I would say, analogy, when you can imagine this human form of life as a, how you say, when the two roads are crossroads. Yeah, so it's some kind of crossroads. When you're at the crossroads with this human form of life, you may go to the right, to the left, straight or back, and a lot of different opportunities. So only in human form of life. If you're speaking about different type species of life, how does you just deal with your karma? It's not about you have free choice. You have much of free choice when you have a form of, I don't know, cat or dog. I'm speaking about British cat and dogs. For me, they looks like as part of the family. People so well protected the cats and dogs that I don't know. You barely can see some dog who is just walking on the streets, but which you can see easily in Vrindavan or even in Ukraine. But anyway, in animal form of life, if you have any type of animal species of life, you only deal with your karma. You already have this body, so you can't control your senses properly. Try to describe, I don't know, to the cat that you have to be austere. You have to take this austerity, not to eat today because today is Ekadashi, and I don't know. Sometimes I visited families. It was like devotees family. They had a cat, for example, and they started to cook something on the kitchen, and cat became mad. He was like, "Let me in, give me something, please." He wasn't able to control his senses. Obviously, it's like just an instinct, and this is normal for the cat and for the dogs. So this human form of life, the way you use this human form of life, you may either go to the heavenly planets or hellish planets, or remain in human body of life, remain in human body next life, or maybe take next life like animal body of the animal, some kind of well, a lot of different options, because you have free will, you have this choice. And the word this Brahman used is yadrichaya in the beginning, in the yesterday verse. It's a really interesting word in Sanskrit, yadrichaya. You know this? Yadrichaya. How you would translate this? Approximately. Yeah. It's like somehow, it's when you can not find the hetu, how you say it in English, hetu means like the reason, or ahaituki apratihata, so ahaituki, how you say this, ahaituki, unmotivated, yes. So this yadrichha, you cannot find this motivation, you can't find what is the root of this, you just somehow or other it's. And Srila Vaishnava Thakur describes in that yadrichhaya, the way some living being, some soul meet devotees, he describes in the word yadrichhaya, it's somehow it happens, it's, no one can tell why some people met devotees, and accept these books, or start practicing the Krishna consciousness, some not, and it describes the word yadrichhaya, which generally means ahaituki mercy, unmotivated mercy of the devotee, because some sadhu, some devotee prayed for this soul, and Krishna listened to the prayer of his devotee. He accepted this. Okay, let's start his spiritual advancement from this point. All we're here because someone met us on the streets and prayed for us. First of all, Srila Prabhupada prayed for us with his sincere prayer. That's why we start to practice Krishna consciousness. This is only our qualification. As devotees ask Srila Prabhupada, what is our qualification? We accept Krishna consciousness. We have no qualification. I gave you all qualification. This is Prabhupada and his devotees, obviously. Yes. So really interesting word yadrichhaya. You can. And Srila Prabhupada translated in previous verse, in yesterday verse, carried by the waves of material nature. Yes, so okay, yadrichhaya. But today we describe like another verse. In this human form of life, so you already have this human form of life, okay? How to deal with it? A man and woman unite for sensual pleasure of sex. But by actual experience, we had observed that none of them are happy. That's what usually happens in this life. People met, and people think, okay, finally, I know how to enjoy this life. And we're speaking about, like, how to say it, pious people, because if you're speaking about modern civilization, they not even, how to say it, get this proper marriage, this marriage ceremony, which is unbelievable in Vedic culture. It just, you can't imagine, it may happen, but we're speaking about pious people who, okay, um, I won't be taking part in this illicit sex. I want to, to be a civilized person. Let's get married. And what is the reason? The main reason to people for the marriage, I mean, honestly speaking, it's not about like, okay, because maybe in previous times, I'm even maybe 100 years ago, people got married just, at least to help each other to survive, because they have to work hard and, to some kind of partnership where, okay, I'm working so hard the whole day, and for example, and the man and woman, she stayed at home, she take care of children, a lot of children, not one child, and dozen of people just running about this child, playing with him, I don't know, taking care of this child, it was different, like in families, at least 3 children, at least more, maybe 6, why not? Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he had 11, I believe, yes, at least more than 10. That's for sure in all this. So, okay, and taking care of children, and they grew some food, so obviously you need a lot of people in the family just to take care of the field and just to grow some food and to cook something, to wash. It was difficult to survive by your own, really difficult. In our time, we have this wash machine, you have this meal from the fridge, which you can just in 5 minutes put to the microwave or maybe oven, which is a rare situation, but okay. And 5 minutes to the microwave, somewhere. That's it. Or even not, sometimes people are so lazy, they, okay, I'm not going to cook something in the microwave as well, I'm going to some cafe or restaurant, and they feed it by, I don't know, some kind of meal, which is uneatable in the Vedic view of this world. But anyway, so just to survive, people got married and they help each other. They really help each other. Big families stay together in one house, and in our time, it's completely different. But anyway, so in our time, people get married, generally speaking, just to enjoy sex life, to make it easier. Okay, let's make it easier. No need to find any different partners every night, it just might be difficult. Maybe it's safer for my health, because it's not so dangerous if you have just one partner. I don't know. It's a funny situation, but so we're speaking today. This Brahmana, he's speaking about this civilized people. We may call karmi, but in a good perspective of view, like karmi, which is people who enjoy this material life, but in the way which is prescribed by Vedic knowledge, by Vedic literature, by some kind of rules and regulations, which is culture, which is, we may call religion as well, but okay, let's say it culture, at least some kind of civilization. Because modern civilization is not civilization at all. It's more about like, uncivilized. At least this principle is, when people have sexual life without even proper marriage, this is, I don't know. Even now, we may see, when there's the difference when you, for example, go to the pilgrimage to India. I don't know, not to India, but to holy places of Vrindavan, Mayapur, and then you came back and you immediately realize this difference. On every big board, you may see this, like naked woman, and some things like Shishikot in time, Abhachashi, Bhagavan ki jai. I mean, when you live here, in Western countries, you're so used to it, so you don't even, okay, it's something which is always happen. But when you, for one month or 2 months, you just make a pilgrimage, and then you came back, and immediately started from the airport, you may see all these, big boards, advertisements, and everywhere, like, I don't know, the main idea of advertisements is like to show some beautiful woman on some big board, This is culture, so-called culture, like modern civilization, So they try to keep people in this, I don't know, animal state of mind, because this is the easiest way to control them. The easiest way to control people, just become them, make them more, absorbed in this more simple, more, I would say primitive. Is it correct word in English? So, and it works. I'm a marketer. I've been working as a marketer for the last 8 years, and if you make some advertisement with and you use some kind of, this sexual things, highest CTR, CTR is like click-through rate, it's topmost, It's easy to sell, not much easier to sell, because people just use this animal nature, because as we read today, that's all we have. You can't just avoid it. It's impossible just to say, okay, I'm not this body, so I can avoid these things. Yes, this is a goal, maybe, yes. But we have to act in our level, because otherwise, when you pretended that, okay, I don't need it anymore, and I will just keep it, I will be strange. I will just keep it. In 1 month, 1 week, 1 day, I don't know, maybe 1 year, and people become mad. Sometimes I even saw it in our ISKCON movement, some devotees who have been so strict in practicing, to follow these 4 regulative principles. That wasn't their level to follow this quite strictly. I mean, just instead of, I don't know, somehow or other to use it in marriage life, they pretended, okay, I'm going to act in level sannyasi, complete renunciation, and then divorces, and then things like, sometimes I even saw like people became little like problem with mental health because of this. So you can just just hold it and keep it, and yes, it should be done in a proper way, in a really proper way, and so we should act in our level to understand what is my level now of renunciation, how I can practice in this, not to become mad, not to make problem to society, and so it's not so easy, because we have this material body, and we how to say it, we used to enjoy this material body in different species of life, in hundreds and thousands of previous lives. You just can't stop it at once. Most of people, for general speaking. So that's why, yes, okay, marriage life. That's why Srila he was sannyasi. Still, he performed this marriage ceremony. Again, this was something unbelievable to Vedic culture. But as a sannyasi, yes, he performed this Vivaha Yagya. Yes, we call this Vivaha Yagya. And it was, he performed this ceremony of Vivaha Yagya, when this fire and all these bananas to the fire, and circulating wife and husband, they should circulate this fire, sacred fire, and gave a vows. So, and Srila Prabhupada, even though he was sannyasi, he performed this ceremony. And obviously we understand that our goal is, yes, like, for example, if you're speaking about today's verse, speaking about sexual life, our goal is, okay, just for, how to say, procreation. Still, when I remember that funny story, when I believe that took place in Vrindavan, and was it maybe that was Bhavananda or someone else, some Srila Prabhupada disciple, Otamal Krishna, came to Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada, Grihasthas, they have sex in Vrindavan, they have sex. And Prabhupada replied, and what you expected? I mean, why do you think they got married? So, I mean, sometimes we have to understand that there is a difference between our goal and the reality we are in, and we have to deal with our proper situation. Yes, otherwise it might cause a problem as well. So, because yes, we are not this body. I'm not this body. I'm living being. I'm internal soul who stayed in this body, but I'm still in this body. And this body, it requires this, as we read today, eating, sleeping, procreation, sex life, and defending. So it's not so easy just to avoid it at once. Yes, our goal is, like as Prabhupada mentioned as well, like zero, no eating, no sleeping, no procreation, no defending. That's our goal. But we have to be honest. No need to be, to act in it on the level you are not. No need to pretend it, to pretend that you are someone you are not. Yes, that's why this is called Vedic culture. This is called culture. When you deal with the level you stay, and through the time you make some progress. You may make this progress only not just following these rules. I mean, this is natural, obviously. Again, how to explain it? If you ask some family, some Grihastha couple who've been married for, I don't know, 15, 20 years, and miraculously they stay together, they still stay together, they will reply to you that, I mean, how are they your, I don't know, this family life? The main answer would be like somehow or other, we went through this process when we, how to say it? First we fight, then we were able to tolerate each other, and now it's okay, It's okay. Don't disturb each other too much. It's not about happiness of this, marriage life. It's more about we helping each other to, to make advancement in spiritual life. And this is the only way how it may work. Okay, maybe we can start some kind of discussion, because a lot of things we may speak about this. Yes, please.
Or even there is initiated. So, in this particular pastime, it's that's not the main focus. It's more that he's become aware that material life isn't good, But generally, in the Bhagavatam, if somebody is very elevated, they usually give credit to their spiritual master. I just wondered if you knew if there was any reference to how this Python sage achieved, or did he just achieve that perfection on his own?
I don't know. At least maybe there are something, but I don't know any details about how he became, how this Brahmana became the stage of Avaduta. Obviously, he took the stage of Avaduta. But yeah, I mean, we will find in 15th chapter of this 7th canto a lot about, the spiritual master and the relationship with spiritual master. Wonderful verse. A couple of days ago, I listened to one class and I read a paper by Vaishnava Chakravarti Thakur. It's a wonderful, wonderful class on Guru Tattva. And it was on 15th chapter of 7th canto. So obviously, if you're speaking about how you may deal with this, with all these, animal desires which we already have, the only way to you can, how to say it, went over, or overcome this sexual desire, only when you take shelter of a spiritual master. Otherwise, it's just impossible. You may pretend you are, but you are not. Because the reason you have this desire for sexual enjoyment is false ego, and the only way you can deal with your false ego, you just take shelter of lotus feet of spiritual master.
Okay, well, that leads into the next question. Is in a society where we have devotees of different levels, and it says in the Nectar of Instruction, we should not reveal our minds unless it's to somebody whose heart is completely devoid of the propensity to criticize others. So you were saying that we shouldn't pretend, but it would seem that you would have to pretend in front of everybody else except your mentor. With your mentor, you'd be very honest. But for the sake of keeping social stability, if you were struggling to follow the regular principles and you were engaging in sex life with your wife outside of procreation, you would have to pretend, because if you went around openly telling everybody that, then that wouldn't be a good example for the young devotees. And also for Kanishtas, they have a tendency to criticize. You'd have to go to someone who was at least a Majjhima Adhikari, and everyone else you'd have to pretend. Is that right?
It's a real deep question. I would say, what I meant. Sometimes, young people. Young people join our movement, and obviously, they have these hormones really strong, and sometimes their family, or they already, got married when they joined, for example, or anyway, they just got married after they join the movement, and it's really difficult for them to control their senses. And for example, one I don't know, husband or wife, they need this, they really need this, otherwise it just became crazy, and instead of doing this, as an animal, in just, how to say it, in this with today was one partner, next day another partner, they honest, they got married, just okay to enjoy the sex, but in marriage, which is more or less is okay. At least this is not a sin. This not lead to your, how to say it, spiritual advancement, but it's not a sin if you enjoy your sex life in marriage. So anyway, and the problem is when the one partner, okay, I don't need it, another partner, I needed this, and what to do, and start, because I saw this real situation in one city in Ukraine when just one Mataji, she was really, she needed this, and she tolerated it for some years. And after that, she just, they start to, with other devotees. They also got married, so it's how, I don't know what the proper word in English to say, to use, but, when, how to say it? It just, they break their family, they break couple else's family, 5 divorces, and because of that, and it's really difficult. It's not about we discuss this topic much, only because obviously, how to say it? I think the solution is when we have really nice way of, how to say it, mentoring or taking care of Christian devotees, I would say. When the young people came, they have to be under the guidance of senior devotees who already went through something, and obviously, that's not a proper question you must ask to your senior devotee. Are you able to, I don't know, to control your sex life in your marriage or not? But at least, they may not give the instructions, really strict instructions. They should give the proper instructions. Okay, you're together you have a family, for example, so you should listen not only yourself, but your partner as well. And somehow they deal with the situation, and step by step, you would be able to control it in a proper way. So this guidance is really required, this culture of, this when this topic is not discussed at all, the problem is people understand something, they create something in their imagination, they may misuse this. You understand what I mean? Yes. So this, I mean, but
Yet, I think there is a certain amount of pretension that has to be there in a society, though, is because otherwise, if you're too honest with everybody, so you have to behave in a way where generally people get the impression that you're following strictly. And if you're not, then you wouldn't broadcast that. Not in the broad spectrum of devotees where there's Kanishtas and everybody. That's why Facebook is not so good, because when you put something on the public forum, the majority of people that will see that will be Kanishtas, you know. So not a very good idea. And then if you do have someone that you can Guya Makati Prichati, that you can open up to, and you can explain and then say, I'm struggling with this or I'm struggling with that, then ideally the spiritual master.
yes.
But if you don't have the spiritual master, then you have a shiksha. And generally for grihastas, that's somebody that's a grihasta themselves, and preferably a vanaprastha, someone that's coming out the other side now, and he's getting free from the attachments. And then you can encourage the grihasta. Don't become discouraged. In due course of time, you'll become purified and you become free from these things. You know? But it's a very bad practice to reveal your mind. So you would have to, maybe pretension is too strong a word to say, you know, because you're not pretending yourself, you know, you're not misleading yourself. You know yourself clearly that this is not right, and that if I'm going to advance in pure devotional service, I have to get free. That's like the really gross attachment, you know. In the Mana Shiksha, it says that when you do get free from all these things, and that may take 10, 20 years of practicing really full on, you know, even then he says, there's a woman in the heart who's a prostitute and eats dogs, and she is the woman of pretension. It's the very last snare of Maya. The final one is that we pretend to be something that we're not, you know, and we're deceitful in that way. So it's like, it's a fine thing, isn't it? But if we're too humble and we're too honest, so at least with ourselves anyway, we're aware, you know.
No, the real humility in that case is not, is like, you know, not. I think the real humility in this case, obviously not to discuss it with some, I don't know, new devotees, that's your personal problems with following something, obviously. I mean, we're here to inspire each other, not to judge each other. And if you know that your behavior somehow or other may, you know, may other devotees criticize yourself, you're also devotee, you know, so you shouldn't act in such a way that, okay, they should criticize me and that will ruin their spiritual life. That's not a good thing to do, obviously. Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's the main idea is we have to be honest, at least with ourselves, and we have to be honest with our Shiksha, Diksha Guru, and that's the way how does it work. But at the same time, we shouldn't, you know, be too, how to say it, too fanatical in our instructions, because, you know, Prabhupada, he wasn't fanatic at all in this regard as well, you know, and because that stories took place as well. Even when Prabhupada he was present in this world, once he heard that I think one husband, he cheated his wife with someone else and with some prostitute, you know, something like this, you know, some, you know, from with non-devotee, with some lady who was non-devotee from like outside, you know, and the reason in his mind was, okay, she's a pure devotee, she's devotee, and I don't think she broke these four little principles, but I nothing I can do with this, so I need this, you know. So he just cheated his wife with someone else, you know. That was his understanding, his mind. He was why are you doing so? I mean, you got married for this. It's okay. So you never find this in the books, obviously, because in the books we have this very strong sambandha, abhideya, prayojana, so we proper goal and Prabhupada, he's really strict in this. But in personal instructions, he was really soft in this way, and he was really, how to say it, like he wasn't fanatic at all. He understand this. He understand everything, and I think this is real dangerous power, because we may see not only in ISKCON, in example of, I don't know, Christian church, all the bad examples when, priests, they're not allowed to get married, and still, so we know what comes from this, sometimes. Yeah, so this is a serious topic, and I mean, yeah, we should be honest, and I would say the main problem is when you don't have, proper, how you call this, mentor, or like senior devotee who leads you in this way somehow or other,
Yeah, the point came up this morning. Ayendra was giving a little point from Japa Meditations to Bhagavatam Swami. He was saying that Namabas is where you're just struggling to say the syllables of the holy name and hear them. And Shudanam is Krishna and Radharani come and they dance on your tongue. So our only real problem is that, like you were saying, because of the false ego, Nashoshishig and Anxiously, because we can't hear, then there are so many problems. So if we can chant Shudanam, then all the anartas are destroyed, because it's like the bright sunshine shining in the heart, Namabas, there's still obstacles there, things that it's dim. And then Namaparad is the worst, if you're chanting Namaparad, you're not making any advancement. All you're doing is getting your material desires fulfilled.
Yeah.
So that's the real. And then it relates to sex life and all the other things, but really it's because of an inability to chant the pure holy name.
Yeah, that's the main point, yes, because sometimes, people, once I heard this wonderful instruction, not instruction, it was about, how to say it, we have one really senior devotee in Ukraine, and he never asks you, are you able to follow your regulative principles? He always asks you, what is a sadhana? I mean, when you wake up, till which time you finished your japa? Till 7:30 a.m. or 10 a.m. or midday or maybe late night you finish your rounds. How many hours per day you chant kirtan? You join the kirtan. How many hours per day you read books? If you're not, if you don't have this proper japa in the morning, if you don't have this daily 1 hour reading of Prabhupada's books, daily 1 hour kirtan, if you don't not engage in this process of devotional service, how in the world you would be able to follow these regulative principles? That's impossible. The problem is when people put these regulations in front of the rules and how vidhi and nisheda. Yes, sarva vidhi nisheda. Это Yoravi Kinkara. So you put this carriage, you have this carriage and you have this horse. The proper way when you have horse in front and carriage in the back,
Put the cart before the horse.
Yeah, so put the cart before the horse. It's a stupid idea. So, and that's what usually take place when, not usually, but sometimes, not sometimes again, often, I would say often. The situation often take place, okay, because people, they don't believe, properly believe in this process of devotional service, that just by chanting holy names, by reading Bhagavatam, our heart day by day it would purify it, and our desires would be changed. They believe, okay, I'm the doer, ahankara, this false ego, Ishvara hamaham, or not, what is the Bhagavad Gita verse? Kartaham iti manyate. Iti manyate means he thinks himself like karta aham. Aham is a karta. Karta is like, this motivation, or how to say this, I'm doer, I do something. So you have this, okay, what can I do? I can't properly chant holy names, but I can strictly follow these regulative principles, it's a problem, And this is always for everyone else except you. When in this fall, that's why it's so important to take advancement. Not advancement. Again, this guidance. Yeah, guidance in spiritual life. Yes.
Jai.
Granth Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada Pachita Pavana ki jai, Gaura Premanande.
Krishna Kishore Prabhu ki.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.